Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report for the 4th of November. And I want to start with the banks today. I'll just use ANZ as an example though. The market has been falling down and I just wanted to point out a few things. So we're looking at it as an A and a B and a C wave here in terms of 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here and then 4 and then 5 here. So that's how we'll look at it. If it's going to be anything else than this, then in this example, the ANZ here, the $25 mark here, if that becomes the retested resistance, well then we'll look at a bigger bear picture. But at this stage here, we'll just look at this particular structure here coming down here for banks. So you can see that there's still quite a long way to go. If wave 2 is simple, which it was, well then wave 4 will be complex. So it's going to be more days than this here, and yet this hasn't finished here and this hasn't finished here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's just 11, there'll be 10 days here as well. So there's quite a lot for this to slow down and finish at this particular point. But I just thought I'd point that out. So we won't go into a bigger bearish picture with the banks unless, as an example, we can look at other banks along the way within this period here. If this 25 becomes the retested resistance, it could certainly come through it a bit, but will it become support or resistance at that particular point? So as a support, we'll pick up the long trades from this area here if that's going to be the case. If not, well then we'll look for the short trades as that becomes the resistance there. So I just thought I'd point that out. And with the ASX200, we've been looking at it in terms of down for wave A here, then an A and a B and a C wave up here for a B. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for this, and then if that's the case, then we would be coming way down through here. So then in that case, that ANZ, for example, that 25 will definitely become the retested resistance at that point. But we need to get there at that $25 mark first for that. And also for here as well, there is a possible upside count for all of this as well. So we know that this is a corrective wave in here, and we know that this here's got 5 waves in it. So we're looking for an A and a B and a C to come down to here, and that would be in line with the banks as well. Yeah, so we just need to see how this sort of completes here at this point. The other bigger bullish pattern in all of this, if I can just bring up the trading levels charting program. So from this point here, it's possible to count this up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, and looking at this here as an A and a B and a C wave here, then up for 1 here, back for 2 here, then 5 waves up here for 1 of a smaller degree here, and then a smaller from this top here, a small ABC pattern to come into play here that we're looking at the moment with this as wave 2 here, and then a move higher from that point into a wave 3 at that point. So it's possible that we can look at all of this here as a bullish pattern. And that's okay. It doesn't really, I mean, what we always do with our trading is we do our best to move with the evidence at the time. Sometimes the Elliott wave is a bit of a guessing game, and sometimes it's quite clear, and we can move on that. But when we get into situations where it's not clear, then we just have to move with the evidence, and our trades will be based off support and resistance at certain times within the structure. So I just thought I'd point that out. There is another bullish pattern that we need to be aware of as well. But we'll look at that on the intraday here. So in this case here, we could look at this as a little wave 1 up here, an A and a B and a C back for wave 2 here into this space, and then moving up into there. So yeah. On the, just breaking that down into the 4-hour chart here, let me just, so on the 4-hour chart here, we can look at it as wave 1 or wave A, and wave 2 or wave B, and then down for wave C here, or even further down at that point. We will look to short in here if that's the right thing to do, if we can see the setup in that space. Yeah, but let's go in and have a look. It does appear that this here is 5 waves in this space here. So we should see a corrective move back up to the 50-60% retracement level here that we're looking at, and then down again from that point. So going into the hourly chart here. So from the top here, I've counted it down as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here for the third, the fourth, and then all the way down for the fifth here. So this can also be the A wave here at this stage, and going back up for the wave 2 or wave B here. So this little move up through here, I can squeeze a corrective move out of this here, and we can certainly go a bit higher here as well for this, but this is our, this 6, 7 here is our sort of target area, and we've got this sort of corrective pattern here that will offer supply and mirror corrective pattern over here as well. So we can count it up as an A and a B and a C here for the A wave here, and then the B wave here, and then 1 and 2 here, and going into the third, fourth and fifth wave in here, so a little bit higher here. But I have to say this is not confirmed as a corrective pattern in here, because it can also be counted as an impulse wave here quite nicely as well. So just on the tick chart here, 100 ticks. Okay, so and quite nice impulse wave too, I have to say. So wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then, well, wave 1 and 2 in here, wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and wave 5 here. And this makes a nice wave 4 rather than a wave B, you know. Now we could put you know, we could put, it'd be sensible to put wave 5 here, but obviously we've made a new high here for this, so that's why I'm thinking that this needs to be wave 1 and 2 here, and wave 3 that's not finished. Oh, I can't draw on this side of the price here, so so wave 3 coming up here, wave 4 and wave 5 coming into this area through here. So either way, this can be counted as a impulse wave to the upside. So we need to be a little bit mindful of that. So if this is going to be an impulse wave to the upside, I'll just go back to another chart that I've been following on the 2-hour chart here for this. So this offers a slightly different pattern. So from this point here, wave 1 and ABC for wave 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and 5 here for wave 1, then an A wave, a B wave, and that 5 waves we've been looking at here as a C wave here for wave 2. That would make that up for wave 1, back for wave 2, and then pushing up higher from that point. So when we get this impulse wave in here, what we need to do, if it is corrective or impulse, we just need to be a little bit mindful of it. What we'll do is we will look at this here as the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5 coming up to the 61.8% here. So once we get that top in after those 5 waves there, then that will be a catalyst for a trigger to the upside. And yes, we can bring it down to this point here, and yes, we may be able to even get a better entry in over here with that as well. But what the main point here is that when this 5 waves is finished here, then the market will have a rest and it'll pull back in some way. And yes, it may continue down to the other count that we've got, or it could push up from that point. But if it does push up, we're going to catch it on these highs here. I just wanted to, make sure that we've got all our bases covered, and we don't, I mean, it's nice to be right all the time, but it's just not the case, is it? So we just got to make sure that we have a plan B for the market. So I just wanted to point that out at that stage. So just coming back to that tick chart here, we need to wait for this to top out here. In a way, we need the S&P 500 to top out as well in its little 5 waves to the upside as well, which is very close at the moment. So we'll look, good idea to keep an eye on that. Okay, looking at the Nifty 50 here, there's a couple of things I want to talk about today. Is that this market is not completed to the upside. Okay, so in one way or another, we're going to either continue to make new highs up through here, all right, and we'll look at tactics for that, making new highs above here, or we'll have this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and then move up from that point. But in one way or another, we're moving higher, because when I look at the BSE 30, the top 30 stocks, we have already taken this high out here. So that means that we can still look at this as the A wave here. We can still look, so this can be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming down here and then move up. The other point here is that this can also be counted here as well, wave 1 and 2 in here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, back for the fourth wave here, even though it may overlap with this one here, and then having a fifth wave up here, so going much higher at this point. One of the other things that I want to say here too is that we are at the old top here. This here is higher than the Nifty 50 at the moment, but it's also at this level here, the 4,000, which is a medium level. So there is going to be some type of dance across here, going back and forth and so on at this particular point. So all we have to do as traders is be patient. We have to be patient like this top here when it first arrived here. We just have to be patient to work out, let it do its little dance, and then we'll take a high as a long trade, or we'll take a low as a short trade here. And of course, we'll be able to work out, we'll have Elliott wave on our side at some point as well. So, so we can expect this market to, it could go a bit higher and so on, and then come back and so on. But I mean, we'd be looking for 5 ways in this little structure here, at least in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So there may be another little push in here, but once that's done, there will be some type of correction across here, and we'll just pick up our long trades or short trades from that area there. And that way we move with the evidence and we do all the right things at the right time, because it's really the most important thing about all of this is the timing. So coming back to this space here at the moment, it looks like we've still got a little push up into this place here. I've labeled this here as wave 4, wave A here, wave 1 and 2 and so on. So I'm looking at it in both ways. So we'll use the 12,000 in this case here to see if we get support or resistance in here. But I mean, the BSE is trading higher, so it's actually going to sort of vibrate across this a bit more. But in this case here, we may get a sort of a sharper sort of reaction from this point here, pulling back here in this case. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. 4-hour chart, yeah, okay. So you know, we're just counting up here. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and we're counting up for 5 here. So we've got wave 1 and 2 here. This is part of a third wave here. So let's just go into the hourly chart and pick this up here. So from wave 4 here, I've been looking at it like this here. I've got, I was looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 1 and back for wave 2 here, and then up for 3 here and back for 4 here, and then 1, 2, and it gets a bit messy in here, but 3, 4, and 5 in here. But it looks like we can make a new high here. So I'll just see what the case is at this stage. We talked about you know, if this was breached here, would look for the short trade here at this stage. I don't particularly want to go, you know, we could have done better. We got in here and we got out here and, you know, picked up a few points, and we've missed out on this and this, but I don't want to go chasing the market at this stage either. Let's just see if we make a new high here. We probably will. Then we would have to count this a little bit differently at that point. We would have to copy this and put wave 4 over here and wave 5 here for that. And wave 1 would probably have to go here, and 2 here, because that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 at that point. But I just didn't see 5 waves in this structure. Maybe I need to go and have another look at that. But it doesn't matter that much. Let's just sort of chill on this, or leave this. Well, in fact, what we can do with this here is we can bring that up into there. So this is group 2 here, 65, 72, and 80. We want that to be the resistance here before we tackle that. I'll just check on the tick chart. This is the tick chart here, and this is the top piece. So we've got, that looks like 5 waves in this structure here. So an A and a B and a C here. And this looks impulsive to that point. This looks corrective. Look, I'm really not going to worry about it. There can be a new high to be made, but all of that noise won't bother us at this stage. We just need to allow this market to top out, and we'll probably do it in line with the S&P 500. Let's go and have a look at Hong Kong. So Hong Kong here, we'll just sort of forget about the wave count as such, and just focus on this trade little area here. So from this low here, we can look at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here and wave 3 here. So we can expect a wave 4 to come back, and then a wave 5 to push up a little bit higher. So I brought this stop in because we've been triggered. We would either been triggered short or long. We were triggered long in this case. So we can bring that up into, say, 26,926. So just bring that down a bit. I'll just leave it there, but 26 would be fine. And just on the smaller version of that, so we're looking for wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we're nearly at the top of the third, and we'll probably be there in here. And the correction normally happens within group 2. So 65, we'll have to get that. That's not right. That's actually group 1 here. Well, that's where it's going to occur anyway. And then wave 5. So our target to the upside will be around the 27,500 at that point. But we can see that the trend has got a beginning, a middle, and an ending process, and we are in that ending process there. I'm not going to drill into that there, but you could take part profit here if you wanted to, or all profit, but we'll expect some sort of wave 4 and then a little wave 5 to the upside at that point. So yeah, the other point with this too is that it can go much higher as well. So coming back to this 4-hour chart here, I mean, if this is wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, that's going to leave wave 3 here a lot longer going to the upside there. So we'll be looking at the 28 area up there. So just have a look at China because that was our trigger as well. So the A50 for China. Okay, well that's good, isn't it? So that's pushed up nicely. Sorry, I'm just looking at the structure, but we were looking to go long in Hong Kong if this top here was taken out at that particular point. I was just looking at some of this other structure and just wondering if this is actually, I need to do some work on this, but I was wondering if this is 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, having this as a fourth wave, and then a fifth wave up here. I'll try and do a little bit of work on that. That looks impulsive, so that's good. That's corrective. And here too, we can still see this is 1 and 2 here, and the 1 and 2 and all the third wave moving up here. So we'll see some type of correction at supply levels across the top here before we see any upside here. But the main point is we're on the right side of the market at the right time. That's the important bit here. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.
Report unless it's done.
Really?
They're sorting up some plates.